doing? How is everybody? I'm good. It looks like it's actually not going to rain for a little while. So after this, I think I'm going to go take Jessie for a walk. Listen to my murder podcast. Okay, so today we are going to do the ladder. So just the ladder here, because it's kind of the thing that's like in the background. So we want to make sure that we get this right along the edges here. It's going to be so good. Veronica says no rain here either yet. Oh, I hope it doesn't rain today. I swear, I think it's rained every day for the past like 10 days or something. Awful. So I'm going to use the split stitch, and I'll show you how to do it. And 3 strands of this light brown, like a golden honey color. And I think it's the same color I used. In fact, I'm pretty sure it is the same for this one. And then I just went back with 1 strand and put some like wood grain in there. Now, ladders come in all different kinds of colors. So if you wanted to do a dark brown one, obviously I can't go too dark because of my fabric color. But if you wanted to do a dark brown ladder or a white ladder or a pink one, or like a half-half situation where like it looks like the ladder's been like dipped in a color, those look really nice. You can do that as well. So don't let the fact that ladders are oftentimes wood stop you from making it how you want to make it. Okay? All right. So I've got my 3 strands on here. I made this really long. And let's just zoom in, and we're just going to fill in the ladder today. Now the split stitch, let's go in a little bit closer. The split stitch, you're going to go, I hope it really will. So if you ever have a worry about your color choices, just put it on the back, especially if you're using the Sticky Solvy, because on the back, you'll be able to see exactly how it's going to look. Whereas on the front, you have that kind of creamy, like white barrier on there. Now I'm going to do the split stitch up and down like this. If you want to not do the split stitch at all and just do like a sideways satin stitch, of course you can. I probably wouldn't recommend any other ones just because, like if you wanted to do a satin stitch like all the way to the top, that's too long. That's too long of a stitch. Do you know what I mean? So I would not recommend that. But you could do sideways if you wanted to and make the satin stitch go sideways all the way up. I'm going to do a split stitch because I think it looks kind of like a wood grain. And that's like the look I'm going for. So here we go. Typical me, talking for 5 minutes before I even get started. Now you can make these quite long if you want to, or you can make them really short. I'm going to go for like a medium length here. Now, split stitch is where you split the stitch. So you're actually going to go down into or up through each of the stitches. So there's, of course, 2 ways to do it. Down into like this. Okay, so I split through these threads, or up through like this. So you go up through. It can be a little bit difficult doing it this way. Come on. Up through like this. Okay. And you're just going to do that all the way up. So you can do it all the way up like this. Or you can go for like a long and short split stitch where you work kind of sideways. And that would look like this. So it just depends on which way you work best. Some people kind of like to do a bunch of different stitches next to each other. And other people like to work all the way up in a straight line and then all the way back down. So we've got a split stitch today. And 3 strands. Now the one advantage of doing one line all the way up and then one line all the way down is that you can keep the thickness the same, meaning that they'll be exactly the same going all the way up and all the way down. For example, if you wanted like 3 rows, you could do 3 rows all the way up and it would be like exactly the same. So it doesn't really matter how you do it. If you do it sideways like this and kind of work up all at the same time, or you can do it one line all the way up. So we'll just continue with this one here that I already started. Both are the split stitch. The long and short split stitch is just a variation of a split stitch. It's just a different way to work on it. And we're not doing an outline for this. Obviously you can if you want to. If you feel like, ooh, this would be really nice, like outlined in black. You can outline everything in black if you want. It'll just take a bit more time. So this is what I mean. You can work vertically like this up in a row. Or you can work sideways like that. And then we'll go back and I'm going to put one strand of a dark brown and just like cover that up in like little like wood grain pattern. Just like little straight stitches. So I'm gonna try and do just one, like fill this whole thing and then show you the dark, like adding the dark part in. So I'm going up and down for this one, meaning like vertically. And then for the bars sideways, I'm gonna go sideways. Just make my stitches go this way. Yeah, still split stitch. So you should have 5 rails, I believe. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's a little one here, 5. I know I'm zoomed in like really far, so like really close, really far in. And I always like to do a little split at the end there too. So you can kind of see that every stitch is split. And I'm working back down. And you might find like here, maybe they don't lay like right next to each other. So you might have to go and put in a couple extra little stitches in there to like really fill it up, because you do not want to see the fabric between your stitches. You want it to be really filled. This is one of those stitches that people think take forever, because I kind of do, or it kind of does. It takes longer than some of the other stitches that we've done, because you're really filling it in. But I love that texture. I feel like it really does look like a wood grain almost. So it just depends on what kinds of things that you like. Like, what do you like your stitching to look like? Do you like it more smooth? If you like it more smooth, then this is probably not for you, because this doesn't really give a smooth look to it, if you know what I mean. There we go, that's a little bit better. And then we'll go right back up again. Hi, George. You can tell I like the, like, go forward and go back down into the stitch better than going up through the stitch. Because with the less strands that you have, it's harder to go up through it. Because you really do want to make sure you go through the stitches and split them and not just go next to it, because that's a whole different stitch. Okay, let me tie this off. And then we'll get the other half, because remember, it's only 3 strands, so we have the other half of our thread, and we can finish using that. So kind of an easy day today, really. Not so much stitching. Okay, where was I here? Here. Almost done, and then I can show the dark part. For the dark part, I said I was just going to use 1 strand, and I probably will use just 1 strand again. I was going to show you the thread, but then I got not. And so here is the one I'm using, and then here is the dark color I'm going to add. But any kind of darker color than this would look really nice. Like this would look really nice. Not so big a contrast, you know, just a little bit more. Could be nice. What's the stitch you use to outline the leaves? That's the stem stitch. 2 strands. And I've been putting the strands and stitches in the description on IGTV as well. So if you ever miss it or forget or whatever, then hopefully you'll be able to see it from there too. And yesterday I got 2 days, the prep video and day 1 up on YouTube. I don't know what is going on. I don't know if it's our internet or if it's like the video format, or I don't know, but it's making me both irritated and anxious because I want to get them up like as soon as possible. But it happened before, do you remember, when I couldn't get the videos to upload for the teapot and the coffee Stitchalong? I couldn't get that to upload either. So I don't know. It tries for like hours and hours, and then it just says error uploading video. need like an IT person. Because it's not nice. But that's all right. It happens. Okay. So after you've already done, Zoe says, I haven't even started my hoop yet, but I'm enjoying watching. It's very, very soothing. Listening to me is soothing. That is a surprise. I'm sure my family and my husband would argue with you and think differently. You're probably watching with no sound. In which case, I wouldn't blame you. Okay, so after you've finished it and you feel like, okay, I've gone all the way up and all the way down a bunch of times, and I've kind of filled in like the pattern, if you know what I mean, okay? Hold it away from you, like stand back, yeah? And make sure that you don't have any parts of your like straight, like wooden part of the ladder. Like it could be a stick or it could be like an actual like piece of ladder. Make sure that there's not any parts that like dip in a lot, because the nature of the split stitch is that it goes into the other stitch. So sometimes they can make lines like this, whereas like satin stitch or back stitch, they are completely straight like that. So sometimes when you do your split stitch, they end up making lines that are a bit curvy. So you might find, especially on the edges, Christ almighty. I don't want brighter skin in 1 week, okay? I just want to listen to my music. Chill. Chill. Okay. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So for example, there might be like little areas where you might want to just fill in just like one little stitch just to make it a little bit straighter whilst you have this same color on. And that way you can kind of make it how you want it, you know? Those ads, man, I'm going to have to figure out a way to do that too, so I don't have to listen to them anymore. That's pretty good. Maybe there's just up here. Doesn't look very splitty. That's all right. That's pretty good. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I'll do a little knot on the back. And then let me see my scraps and see if I can't get one strand from there, so I don't have to cut a big long piece. So we're just going to do the one strand and make some like random straight stitches. And that will really kind of like blend it out and make it look like, blend it, not really blend it. But it'll just make it look like there's more like a wood grain on it. Now you don't have to do this as well if you don't want to. If you're like, I like how it is, then just leave it. Or if you decide to do like a pink ladder or like a blue ladder or white where maybe the wood grain is not showing. Or if you want to go like industrial with a gray ladder. Who knew I was so passionate about ladders? They're like super in style now, aren't they? To have like a ladder in your home, like with blankets on it, like all in there. Oh, I forgot to tell you, if you wanted to do a little straight stitch on the bottom to like cap it off like that, you can do that if you want to. This one right here, I went to make the ladder thicker on this side, so that's why it doesn't go over the entire way. But that can look nice too. So down here, I didn't do it, and it just looks like that. And then up here, I did do it. So I have just that little horizontal straight stitch there. So you can kind of see what ladder chat with Tori. I know, I didn't think that I knew so much about ladders, but apparently I do. You just never know what you're going to get here, okay? It's a mixed bag. So with this, I'm just kind of staggering them. Some in the middle, some down on each side. I'm going to zoom in a minute. Zoom it in a minute. Not that you can see it any better. But you can kind of make it your own by adding different things if you wanted. So I feel like that's quite fun. And by stitching straight over these lines, we've made it so this ladder is genuinely on top of, like leaning against the wall. Yeah? So we've really like pushed this wall back into the background and made the ladder be like, yes, I'm leaning against the wall. I need to get a different show. I need to get a different one of these. Let's go back to the other one because that one doesn't have as many commercials in it. Hannah says, I love the look of that. I do too. And again, if you really want to see how it looks, I mean, you can't really see so much on the back, but you can see how the dark and the light are there. See what the color is. I had a couple people message me about the sulky and ask me why I stitched around the edge. And I thought I talked about this before, but maybe I didn't. And that's because the more stitching that we do, because it's such a big piece of sulky, the more stitches that we do, especially ones that are really like concentrated in one area, for example, like the blanket or like big areas of the sulky, the sulky tends to like get wavy a little bit and kind of like pull because it's not like a high grade sticky paper. Do you know what I mean? It's not like super, super sticky. It does stick onto your fabric, but it's not like industrial strength or anything like that. You know what I mean? So I like to do what I'm talking about is this stitch around the outside. So I like to put that there. So it kind of just makes the edge stay stuck onto my fabric. And it doesn't pull as much, I found. So that is the reasoning behind that. I'm not sure. I could have swore I said it, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't say it. And I didn't show it in the prep video. I think I might have said something about it, but I didn't actually show me stitching it. So yeah, it's not like a paper. It's not like the stabilizer paper, you know, that you have to stitch on. Like you have to like make the stitches hold it in place. It is just sticky salvie. And I've just done a little stitch around the outside. Okay, so here is one finished. And again, if you feel like you want to outline this with black or white or whatever, then of course you can. Let me just make a short day today, huh? I'll zoom back out so you can see what it's like. So there we go. Yeah, so your stitches, the stitch direction is going to go up and down for the two ladders, the two sides of the ladder, okay? Get it together this morning. And you're going to go really close to here, okay? But because it's just a split stitch, you can go right next to it and it won't make a big deal that we did these before the ladder, when really you should work from behind to the front so that you can cover anything. but because it's just laying right next to it, it should be fine. And then down here as well, this is where another plant starts. So if you wanted to go a little bit into that plant and not right up to the line, you could do that. So we can cover that later. What else? This is a baseboard. It's not part of the ladder. This right here. The ladder is actually above it right here. Right there. And then you've got one for the blanket. Yeah. I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Okay, it gets a little bit not confusing, but I should have printed it at 100 or more than like 30. That's okay, I'm learning. So I'm just gonna do this little one here, and then I'll probably call it a day. So the video isn't super long. So for these ones, it's exactly the same, except you're just gonna go sideways. Horizontal instead of vertical. And if you can, try not to go through the stitches we put in the background. Try to go over them. And that way that it will keep them straight like that. Because sometimes when you go through them, you kind of pin them in place, and you could pin them in a place that's not right. So for example, you could pin them like that, you know, when really you want to kind of keep it as straight as you can. So you keep that illusion. Oops, I've made a line for the wall on the top of the baseboard. Oh, that's okay. I mean, your wallpaper or painting goes up to the baseboard, so you can always fix that when we do that later. So that's okay. I'm just tucking these up under that there. So I'm not going down into those. I'm just kind of going underneath of them. Underneath them, not underneath of them. And then I'll add the dark spots too. Let's see here. You just know when you're getting a knot, don't you? You just know when you pull it through that you're like, this thread was definitely longer when I pulled it through the first time. Okay, so I've got one little guy done. And you can go straight down to this one if you want to. I have a dark fabric, so it doesn't really matter so much if I jump around. Whereas if I had white fabric, you guys know how I feel about that. Jumping around on white fabric. Not my favorite. On these here, they'll be a little bit harder to do the actual split stitch with because they are so small. So if you only do just a couple little of these, then that's okay. A couple little straight stitches or satin stitches. So here I'm just making sure that they're about next to each other, like in line. Because remember, this is meant to be a ladder. So if they don't meet up, then that doesn't make sense. Or if one is way up here and the other one is way down here, then you've got a busted ladder. So just have a think about how far apart they are, you know? And let's just add some little black parts, not black, dark brown lines on there. And then I think we'll just call it a day because it's pretty much exactly the same. I think if I keep the videos a little bit shorter, maybe they'll upload better too. I don't know. Maybe it's because they're like 45 minutes and YouTube doesn't like that or something. I'm going to figure it out. But is everyone good? Are we do we get it? Have you got any questions? Are we having a good day? Oh, I didn't tie a knot in my last one. So I've just pulled the needle off as I was stitching. Try and decide on colors. I think it will take longer than the actual stitching. It does. My biggest tip is to gather all the colors that you want to use in one pile and start assigning things colors when you have a minute. So don't wait until that day. Do you know what I mean? Don't wait until today to pick your color for the ladder. So start assigning things colors. Like I want this plant to be dark. I want this plant to be light. There's five. So I've already drawn them out. Like I've already showed you where they are. So just go and rewind the video and you can see where I've put them. But yeah, definitely it helps to pick all the colors that you want to use first and have them in a little, like a box or a pot or something that you have, by your stitching, and then start assigning things. And oftentimes, I can't show you because it's on my phone and I'm using my phone, but oftentimes I'll put my hoop like this, like on the floor or on my sofa, somewhere that has like a lot of light, and I'll just start assigning colors to things. Let me make this so that they don't fall off. By just putting the colors on the thing and then taking a picture of all of it. So for example, like if I want, no, I don't want that. Okay, how about like this one? If I want this one to be here with like a dark stem, I'll put that like that. And then the pot color maybe will be red. Yeah. And then the blanket, I'm going to have like a light pink blanket, maybe like this, like a light pink. The chair, I want to keep the same color chair. Then I've got this blanket, maybe that can be a gray or like a purpley gray, or maybe like a medium gray. Do you get what I'm saying? And then take a picture of this. Take a picture of all of your threads on there. So maybe you want your rug to be like white and light gray or pink and tan. Okay, take a picture of that. And that way you kind of know where each of the colors are. And then when you put them back into your basket or pot or whatever you want to call it, you know exactly where each of the things go. And you get a better idea. I hope that's making sense. Words are hard. My typical snake plant colors, eh? You know? Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Like, what color shelves do you want? I could just go on forever, which is why I didn't do a color video, because it's just the same thing. Like, I just keep saying the same thing. It's just like, put them all on there or color them in, or, you know, you can even snip off a little piece of each one. What is going on with this? You know, and assign it to there. If you want to like take like a little bit of the color off and kind of like put it on there, and then you can have a look. But yeah, that's a really, if you find that you're spending more time picking colors and that you're having a really hard time picking the colors, I would start by dumping all the colors you want to use. Like, even if you think, oh, I might use this, I might not use it, throw it in, and then start assigning things. Like, if you want a blue, maybe you want blue jeans and a pink shirt. You know what I mean? You get to kind of see how they look all together. And then when you put one in that you feel like, oh, that doesn't really belong there. Like, where's that bright color green? Not that one, this one. Like, maybe if you put something like this in there and you think, okay, wow, this one stands out because it's a little bit more electric. Like, it's way more bright than all the other colors I've already picked. So maybe this one has to go. Do you know what I mean? So you can kind of see like how it's gonna look. I hope I'm making sense. I feel like I'm not. It's definitely gonna rain in any minute now because there's a big dark cloud. It's just come up. Okay, I feel like that's it. I feel like I'm not speaking any sense anymore. Caro.land says, still waiting for the new order of yarn, like browns for the ladder, so I take some notes in order to follow up once they have arrived. That's so smart. The other thing I did with my sample, this one, is as I was stitching, I was writing on another blank pattern, like the blank pattern, not just on paper, how many strands I did for each one. So you could do that as well. That's really good. Good morning. Amelia did her first day yesterday and she loved it so much. I'm so glad. Tash says, good idea. I think I need to do more forward planning than I have done. At the moment, I've just got a bunch of colors. Just start assigning things colors. And I promise you, you will soon be like, oh, nope, that's not going there. Like this gray, I can already tell you that I'm not going to use it there because it doesn't look right. So back in it goes, you know? The other thing is take all of these and put it on the back if you're using sticky solvay so you can see what the colors look like on the color of your fabric. Because like I said yesterday, certain colors I really can't use because they're the exact same color. Like this one. This is almost the exact same color as this fabric. So I actually use this color for the plant, this plant here, and I have to change that because you won't be able to see it when I wash the solvay off. I did that and then wrote the ladder on the number of the thread I want to use. Oh, perfect. The thread wrapped on the wooden pegs is super adorable. Oh, good. Yeah, I started doing this because my mother-in-law had loads of these pegs at her house. And she was like, I'm not using them. And I was like, can I use them? Because the wooden cards that I would get, because they're so thin, and you wrap the thread around the card. I don't have any cards, so I can't show you. But you know what I'm talking about. The ones that are like shaped like a spool of thread, and they're like cardboard, you know? Those ones, they would kink up the thread a lot. So the thread would be like boom, 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 boom. And I found it annoying to work with. So I thought, well, I'm just going to wrap them on this. And as it turns out, loads of other people do it too. Bobbins. Yes, bobbins. Hannah says I do make sense. So thank you. And Amelia says, is the girl just highlighted with backstitch? Nope. This is not finished. So please don't look at this is what we're going to do. These are just ideas and things that I'm like working out. So anything that you see on here is probably going to change. So please don't look at this and be like, oh, we're definitely going to do that. We're definitely going to do this. Because I just had to outline the girl because I wanted to wash the solvay off. So everything is going to be filled in. Nothing is going to be just outlined. I'm just making sure that's true. Yeah, every single thing will be filled in except for the wall in the background from here up. So everything will be filled in. So you need a color for everything. The hair, if you want to do her skin, you can do her skin. But yeah, every single thing is going to be stitched except the back wall, because the back wall, that's all we're doing. So we're going to leave it the color of the fabric and then whatever the lattice stitch is on there. So there we go. It's raining now, so Jessie's not going to get her walk. Okay, enough waffling for me. There we go. So this is what we've done today. Split stitch 3 strands and then some little highlights of the darker color, thread 1 strand, and that's all. So I hope you guys have a lovely Wednesday. And yeah, I know. Ooh, I feel so bad for her. Hannah said, "Aw, poor Jessie." I feel so bad for her because yesterday she didn't get a walk and the day before she didn't get a walk. But we've been playing inside a lot, so hopefully, fingers crossed, that'll be okay. That'll be okay for her. So I feel bad. Maybe I'll have to brave the elements. She'll hate it though. She'll be like, "Ew, why are you taking me out here?" She's such a little madam. Okay, enjoy your Wednesday. Be sure to tag if you would like to show your progress. I'm happy to share. If you're private, I cannot see. So I hope you have a good day anyways. And yeah, make sure you like and comment and all that jazz. And I'll speak with you tomorrow for day 4. Bye.